Hey, my name is Christian Bassnight, and welcome to Christian's Court, where I cover tennis from all angles. If you have not yet already, make sure you subscribe and click the notification bell so you are notified whenever I post more US Open updates, as I'll post them throughout the tournament every single day. And also, so you join Christian's crew. We'd love to have you and help me reach my goal of making it to 20K subscribers. Yes, the 2024 US Open is here. Yes. And of course, I gotta talk about Sloane Stephens' major collapse in the US Open first round to Clara Burel. Now, I was surprised that Sloane even got the opening night slot on Arthur Ashe. I know that she is a former champion and she won the tournament back in 2017, but she is currently ranked outside the world's top 60, and her opponent wasn't even seeded or very well known. I thought that maybe Sloane was going to announce her retirement before the match, and that's why the tournament gave her this nighttime slot, because there were definitely some other matches that could have been better fits for that slot. But alas, she came out and she looked great. She steamrolled her French opponent to get a 6-love, 3-love, 30-15 lead. She got broken in that game, but she broke back to go up 6-love, 4-1 with a double break advantage. But she started playing mad sloppy from there on out, while Burel stepped her game up and started going after her shots more. Sloane had a chance to serve out the match at 5-4 in the second set, but she got broken at 15 and did not win another game in the set. Stephens still had another opportunity to serve out the match at 5-4, this time in the decider, but it was unfortunately the same story that we saw in the second set, where Sloane just completely faded away, handing her opponent the love 6, 7-5, 7-5 win. I understand that Sloane was low on confidence, as she hadn't gotten a whole lot of wins leading into the US Open, and she definitely got a little bit nervous and shaky when it came time to close. And her opponent, giving credit to Clara Burel, she definitely stepped up and played a lot better than in the early part of the match. And I think that was from Burel. I think this was her first time playing a match on Arthur Ashe Stadium, and she likely got starstruck, especially with this being, the nighttime prime time slot. So for sure, it took her some time to get settled in, and once she did get settled in, of course, she made it a great match. However, I think this is perhaps one of the most heartbreaking losses in Sloane's entire career, and she's had quite a few. It's really indicative of her entire career. She shows flashes of greatness, but she still is just not enough to where she can push and excel to where we know that she can excel too. It's so sad because Sloane really has all the talent in the world, and I just feel like she really never truly capitalized on her strengths, like her serve or really even her athleticism. She should have at least 5 slam titles under her belt, no lie. At least really 2 or 3 Roland Garros titles under her belt, but it just seems like she will end her career with that one. Still, you cannot take away being a Grand Slam champion from her. It's, of course, a once-in-a-lifetime achievement, winning that US Open. But again, you can't help but think about how much more she could have achieved in this sport. And it's just really, it's low-key sad to think about. I'm sorry. Sloane is 31 years old, and she's married, and she might want kids. So there's really no telling how much longer that we'll see her out there competing on the court and on the tour. I hope that we will at least get to see her play the US Open at least one more time, because ending her US Open career like that would be pretty bad, to be honest. Now, the biggest casualty of the day was 9th seed Maria Sakkari, who bowed out in the opening round to 80th ranked Yifan Wang. Sakkari retired after losing the opening set 6-2 due to an apparent shoulder injury that she received treatment for earlier in this match. Sakkari was questionable for even playing the slam due to that shoulder issue, which kept her from competing since the Olympics. The loss marks yet another first-round exit for Sakkari at a major, and it's now going to be 3 years since the Greek woman has made a slam second week. She made the 4th round at the 2022 Australian Open. I gave Sakkari a little bit of flack because of that injury, but there's clearly still some sort of mental block with the Greek woman when it comes time to play these major tournaments. She performs well at mostly all the other tournaments outside of the slams, which is why she has been a mainstay pretty much within the top 10 for the last, 5 years maybe or so, 4 years. But it's just like whenever she comes time to play a slam, she just does not bring really great tennis at all. I said this before, but I think the issue is rooted in where she fell in the semifinals in 2021 at Roland Garros and the US Open open to the eventual champions and Barbora Krejcikova and Emma Raducanu respectively. Sakkari is 29 years old, so I can't really help but think whether her time of winning a slam is running out. Maria Sakkari and Diana Yastremska were the only two seeded players to not make it out of round one. Barbora Krejcikova and Paula Badosa moved through in straight sets, while Victoria Azarenka came from behind to get the job done, and she would now face Clara Burel. Definitely the most mouth-watering match here in this section is Paula Badosa and Taylor Townsend. Badosa, she's my semifinal pick. I think will be the favorite in this one, but I honestly believe that Townsend can offer her a good challenge. I can see Taylor pushing Paula to 3 sets at least, but I think the Spaniard will be too solid in the end. All eyes were on the defending ladies champion Coco Gauff, who took the court earlier in the day against France's Varvara Gracheva. Gracheva pushed Iga Swiatek to 3 sets in Cincinnati about a week or so ago, playing great tennis. So I was a tad bit worried for Coco, especially since she had been not playing well lately at all as she crashed out early in Cincinnati. Coco had a shaky start and she faced multiple break points in each of her first 2 service games, but once she survived that second service game, the American settled in nicely and it was smooth sailing from then on. Gauff won the last 10 games of the match to take it in 67 minutes. This match was somewhat solid from Coco. Definitely wasn't her best, but she didn't really need to bring her best because Gracheva made so many unforced errors. Against a better, more consistent opponent, I think we would have seen that forehand be more of a liability for the 3rd seed because it really did not look great in all honesty. But Coco did do well on her serve as she knelt down 10 aces and won 63% of points behind her second serve. More notable to me though is what Coco said after the win, and she said that a TikTok comment she received inspired her to change her mindset ahead of the tournament. She said, "You defend something, which means that you won something. If you did it, that means you can do it again. Whether I can do it again this year or not, I'm going to do it again. Whether it's 2024 or not, I will do it again." That's a bar right there, and it just shows you that Coco still has that self-belief despite how challenging this summer has been for her. I think that's great too because much of Coco's struggles are derived from psychological issues, so if she's in a better space mentally, I think that'll go a long ways for her in this tournament. Coco will now face the crafty Tatiana Maria in the second round, and she could still meet 27th seed Alina Svitolina in the 3rd round, who got by a tricky Maria Lourdes Carle in 3 sets. Svitolina, I think, will be dangerous for Coco should they play in the 3rd round, so definitely I'm a little worried about that matchup for my girl Coco. Meanwhile, up top, Emma Navarro and Marta Kostyuk both advanced, comfortably beating Anna Blinkova and McCartney Kessler, respectively. The most anticipated match of the day did not disappoint at all between Qinwen Zheng and Amanda Anisimova. Zheng fought back to beat the red-hot American 4-6, 6-4, 6-2. This was a great effort from Zheng because Amanda, not only was she coming into the tournament with great form, making the Toronto final, but she came into this match, or she started this match playing excellent tennis, and she went up 5-1 and held a double break advantage. And she had multiple set points at 5-2 but could not convert. And even though she was able to eventually win that first set 6-4, I think not winning it earlier definitely helped hurt her chances and only aided Qinwen, and as she was able to get more comfortable and had more time to, find her footing in this match. Anisimova also suffered from blisters and definitely heat problems towards the tail end of the match, but ultimately the more match-tough Zheng was too good in the end. I did have Anisimova pull off the upset before the tournament and make the quarterfinals eventually, but Qinwen, I think, will be my pick now to come through this section for sure, although she could get a rematch of the Olympic gold medal match with Donna Vekic in the 4th round. Keep an eye out for Peyton Stearns too, though. I think that she'll upset Daria Kasatkina and maybe go deep in this tournament. Last year's runner-up, Aryna Sabalenka, weathered a strong showing from Aussie qualifier Priscilla Hahn, ultimately winning it 6-3, 6-3. Overall, it was a solid performance from the number 2 seed and the title favorite. Hahn had some good looks in the second set to make this match much more competitive, but while Priscilla served at 2-3, 40 love up, Sabalenka hit 5 winners in a row to break back. Just crazy. It was wild. And then Sabalenka went down love 40 on her serve the following game, but managed to claw her way out of trouble to hold serve for the 5-2 lead. And she ultimately, of course, served out the match. Sabalenka now faces Lucia Bronzetti, the Italian, who got the retirement over Wimbledon Cinderella story Lulu Soon. Up top, the American Madison Keys got an impressive 6-4, 6-1 win over Katerina Siniakova, who can be a tough customer. I was very surprised that Keys got through that match so convincingly, but definitely that's a sign that she could perhaps go deep in the tournament despite just still recovering from that heartbreaking, ugly Wimbledon injury. Elisa Mertens also got a strong win over Veronika Kudermetova, and she'll now meet Ajla Tomljanovic. 29th seeded Katerina Alexandrova barely scraped by and now gets American teen sensation 16-year-old Eva Jovic, who downed world number 42 Magda Linette in straight sets. Jovic got the wild card after winning the Girls Nationals 18s tournament, and I high-key can see her beating the Russian Alexandrova to face Biglenka in the third round. Transitioning to the men's side, Ben Shelton kicked off play on Arthur Ashe with a straightforward 6-4, 6-2, 6-2 victory over 2020 U.S. Open champ Dominic Thiem. The result marks an end to Thiem's slam career, which in addition to winning here in Flushing 4 years ago, he also finished runner-up once at Melbourne and twice at Roland Garros. The tournament gave Domi a nice little farewell presentation at the end as the 31-year-old plans to retire at the Vienna Open in October. Unfortunately, Thiem was really never the same after that nasty wrist injury in 2021, and it's low-key been like a missing piece to the sport, not having him compete on the high level that we know that he's capable of competing at, because he was a consistent top 5 figure and can always push Djokovic and Nadal to the brink. Having him in the mix alongside Alcaraz and Sinner would have been huge for the sport, but unfortunately you just cannot have it all. Thiem's story reminds me of Juan Martín del Potro's, as injury just prevented him as well from maximizing his career, and it's just so utterly sad. Finding the silver lining, though, I'm just happy that he was able to get that slam win at the U.S. Open in 2020, where he recovered from 2-0 down to beat Zverev, and I wish him just all the best in his retirement. Shelton's potential third-round opponent and friend, Francis Tiafoe, had a tougher time on court as he battled past compatriot Alexander Kovacevic 6-4, 6-3, 4-6, 7-5. Tiafoe, rocking the lavender fit, next meets another Alex, this one Shevchenko, while Shelton takes on Spanish veteran Roberto Bautista Agut. Novak Djokovic did not bring his best tennis against Moldova's Radu Albat, committing 10 double faults, landing just 47% of first serves and hitting 23 winners to 40 unforced errors. But the Serb still moved through comfortably 6-2, 6-2, 6-4. He'll definitely need to clean that up if he faces Montreal champion Alexei Popyrin in the third round, who eliminated Sun Woo Kwon in straight sets. Moving up, Andrei Rublev's section is still intact after he, Yuri Lehechka, Sebastian Baez, and Grigor Dimitrov all advanced. I'm bummed that Chris Eubanks wasn't able to scrape by Arthur Rinderknecht though, as he lost in a gut-wrenching 10-8 fifth set tiebreaker. The biggest upset of the day on the men's side really wasn't even an upset to many within the tennis community. American Brandon Nakashima clobbered 15th seed Holger Rune 6-2, 6-1, 6-4. I expected Nakashima to win because he held a 2-in-love record over the Dane coming into this match, and he had been playing well lately, getting wins over Tommy Paul and Taylor Fritz. But I definitely did not expect such a lopsided scoreline, especially since that Rune had that good semifinal showing in Cincinnati, but clearly he has not completely found the plot to this disappointing 2024 season. He looked all out of sorts today and just did not look right mentally. Holger will definitely look to put the pieces back together for the fall/indoor season, and maybe he can push for a top 10 finish. In another popcorn match of the day, Lorenzo Musetti survived big serving American Riley Opelka in 4 sets. Now I said survived because Opelka led the Italian 5-3, 40 love in the 4th set while serving, so for Musetti to hang in there and reel off 4 consecutive games is major. Lorenzo now faces Miomir Kecmanovic in round 2 after his first round opponent, Yoshihito Nishioka, retired at the start of the 5th set. Nishioka had 2 match points while serving for the match at 5-4 in the 4th set, but he suffered full body cramps. He had difficulty breathing and was eventually carried away in a wheelchair while having convulsions, which Nishioka said continued for an hour. He says he's feeling better now though, but he'll withdraw from doubles and will go back home to Japan. I feel awful for Nishioka, especially because he had match points in this match, and it sucks too because he had a good summer as he won a title in Atlanta and he had chances to get that elusive top 10 win over Hubert Hurkacz in Cincinnati, but his emotions took over. Unfortunately, this time his body betrayed him, but hopefully he'll be 100% and ready to go for the fall swing. Meanwhile, Alexander Zverev moved past his compatriot and lucky loser Max Monterer, while 29th seeded Francisco Cerundolo also prevailed in 4 sets, and now gets his dangerous fellow Argentine Tomas Martin Echeverry, who slayed the 6'8 giant Giovanni Impecci Petitcard in straight sets. And lastly, Alexander Bublik is the only fallen seed in Casper Ruud's section. The Kazakh lost to the talented young Chinese lefty Jerry Zheng in 5 sets. Meanwhile, we have some pretty good popcorn second round matches on our hands here. First, Casper Ruud and Gael Monfils, and then even better, Taylor Fritz and Matteo Berrettini, which really could decide the winner of this section, to be honest. I picked Taylor in my tournament preview, so I'm going to stick with him here and have him beat the Italian to make the 3rd round. Looking ahead to day 2, Igor Swiatek, Yannick Sinner, Carlos Alcaraz, and Jessica Pegula headline play on Arthur Ashe, but most of my top popcorn match picks are on Louis Armstrong. After the Americans Danielle Collins and Caroline Dolehide take the court, we get the most anticipated first round match of the entire tournament, which I really don't understand why this one is on Louis Armstrong. But anyways, it'll be between Naomi Osaka and Yelena Ostapenko, the 2 big ball striking slam champions. The 10th seeded Ostapenko is the higher ranked of the 2, but I'm more siding with Naomi here because I think the hotter conditions will favor her more. Plus, I think that she'll just simply elevate her level. I just have good vibes here that Naomi will bring better tennis in this match. And then the most highly anticipated men's match, to me at least, will be between 14th seed Tommy Paul and Lorenzo Sonego, who is coming off the title in Winston-Salem the past week where he didn't drop a set. This won't be easy for Tommy, but I think the Americans' defensive skills as well as the home crowd support will carry him through. Grandstand Court houses my other 2 standout popcorn matches. Stefanos Tsitsipas opens play against Thanasi Kokkinakis. I could honestly see Kokkinakis pull off the upset here. He's very dangerous, and Steph is not in the greatest form and does not have the best track record at this slam. I might still have the higher-ranked Greek move through though. Then the final match on Grandstand will be between 2 unseeded slam champions in Emma Raducanu and Sofia Kenin. Raducanu is the clear pick for me due to her being in better form as of late, but perhaps Kenin can conjure up a surprise and shock the 2021 champion. That's all I have for my US Open Day 1 recap, and let me know in the comments if you believe that Sloane's career is kinda on the outs, and also what you thought about Coco, Novak, and Aryna's performances, as well as any other players. Which player impressed you the most on day 1? For me, on the women's side, it's going to be Qinwen Zheng, and then the men's, I'll say Brandon Nakashima. Again, make sure you subscribe and click the notification bell so you are notified whenever I post my US Open Day 2 recap. Again, thank you all for watching, and thank you for your support, and I'll catch y'all next time here on Christian's Court.